Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Tim Benz, Steelers haven't earned the privilege of a clean slate heading into playoffs. Last week, we couldn't even get on the same page about whether or not George Pickens and Russell Wilson were on the same page about being on the same page. Well, now we've moved on to whether or not the Steelers need a clean slate heading into the playoffs after finishing the regular season 0-4. Head coach Mike Tomlin may have unintentionally opened that can of worms during his post-game comments following Saturday's 19-17 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. He was asked about how the club was planning to put 4 straight losses behind itself and go clean slate into the postseason. "I don't know that you go clean slate. You better learn from these lessons," Tomlin said. "We're a mentally tough group. It's okay to learn from these lessons and remember the things that created this." Wilson took the podium a few moments later. Likely unaware of his coach's quote, Wilson advanced a different opinion. "You step in the playoffs, it's a new slate. It's a new opportunity. That's just the truth. That's just the reality of what it is," Wilson said. Cameron Hayward followed Wilson at the microphone. He neither endorsed nor refuted the need for a clean slate. He merely acknowledged that one existed. "We've got to be complementary, offense, defense, special teams. That's where we thrive," Hayward said. "Slate is clean. They don't remember your record once you get to the playoffs." It doesn't seem like anyone is on the same page about the importance of how clean this slate is. I guess the semantics don't matter. The sentiment does, though, and I'm going to agree with Tomlin on this one. The Steelers haven't earned the privilege of being able to wipe the slate clean after that finish to the regular season. They've got to stew in it for a while. That result has to sink in and sting. Getting a clean slate at 10-4 after being trounced 27-13 in Philadelphia on December 15? Now, that would have been warranted if they had performed better against Baltimore. But they lost there by a score of 34-17 on December 21. Then they dropped a 29-10 decision to Kansas City. That's getting outscored 90-40 over 11 days before ringing in the new year with just 17 points against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Tomlin's right. The Steelers don't get a clean slate after that. The fans aren't going to give them one. The media better not. Most importantly, Tomlin's staff shouldn't. His assistant coaches should be taping open the eyelids of the players and forcing them to watch game film like a scene from A Clockwork Orange. Maybe they'll be repulsed by it and develop a collective aversion to how they've played for the past few weeks. The Steelers need to remember how to tackle better, force punts, pressure the passer, get turnovers, and cover the tight ends on defense. They have to block better along the line and rediscover the run game on offense. Wilson has to start making better decisions and has to avoid turnovers. He needs to start finding Calvin Austin again and regain chemistry with Pickens. The special teams units could block another kick, execute a fake, and cover a few kickoffs cleanly. This team did all of those things against weak and moderate competition over the first 13 weeks. They couldn't replicate anything positive against Cincinnati or the NFL's elite. I don't care what they do with the slate from the past 4 weeks. Just find the one from late November and get a refresher on what they were doing right. If they want to bust out the old Etch-a-Sketch and shake away something, make it Arthur Smith's game plan for the game against the Bengals last week. No one needs to see that again. Ever. It's important that we take the lessons learned from the last month, Tomlin said Monday. Unfortunately, you probably learn more when there's failure. Agreed. Based on how December went, Tomlin's players have quite the syllabus to comb through between now and Saturday night. Hopefully, they come out with master's degrees from those classes and put a better product on the field against the Ravens in their first-round playoff game. If they don't, whatever is carved on that slate we keep hearing about is going to remain there until training camp next summer. Ravens players go viral for throwing shade at George Pickens. The mind games have already begun between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers ahead of their playoff clash in the wild card round. A video taken inside the Ravens locker room has gone viral this week after a couple of players appeared to troll Steelers wide receiver George Pickens. In the clip, Baltimore Banner's Gianna Hahn had various Ravens players try Lamar Jackson's unisex cologne called Night Lights. A bottle costs $90 on Jackson's Era 8 apparel website. Jackson's cologne became a trending topic after the Ravens star had an interview with GQ last month. Jackson revealed that he made his own unisex cologne because he prefers more feminine scents. The cologne got positive reviews from some of Jackson's teammates such as running back Keaton Mitchell, defensive tackle Travis Jones, and wide receivers Tylan Wallace and Nelson Agholor. During Jones' segment, background chatter between two players off-camera caught fans' attention online. "It smells kind of like George Pickens," said one Ravens player. "Soft?" "Yeah, just like that," another appeared to say in response. Pickens is coming off one of the worst games of his career Saturday during the Steelers' season finale against the Cincinnati Bengals. The third-year wide receiver had 3 drops and caught just one of his 6 targets. His lone catch did not even yield positive yardage in the 19-17 loss. Given how Pickens responded to a few trash-talking fans during Saturday's game, the Ravens' online slides may very well fire up the Steelers' wideout ahead of the wild card clash. Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith reportedly candidate for Jets, Bears head coach jobs. Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith is a candidate the New York Jets head coaching job, several national outlets reported Monday, and the Jets formally requested an interview with Smith. The Chicago Bears also requested to interview Smith for their head coaching gig, according to ESPN. Smith, 42, was hired by the Steelers 11 months ago after he was fired as head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta went 7-10 each of the 3 seasons Smith was its coach. Smith also was interviewed by the Jets in 2021 before he was hired by the Falcons and before the Jets hired Robert Saleh. Saleh was fired by New York on October 8. The Steelers are preparing to open the postseason with a wild card round game Saturday night at the Baltimore Ravens. NFL rules do not allow interviews with coaches on playoff teams until after the wild card round ends. The Steelers finished 23rd in the NFL in total offense, 319.4 yards per game, and 16th in scoring offense, 22.4. Known for his skill in designing run-based schemes, Smith guided the Steelers to 11th in rushing yards per game, 127.4, but they ranked among the bottom third of the league in yards per carry, 4.1. Smith replaced interim coordinator Eddie Faulkner, who took over late last season after the firing of Matt Canada. Smith is among at least a dozen candidates the Jets reportedly plan to interview. Under interim coach Jeff Ulbrich, New York completed its season Sunday with a 5-12 record. The Bears and Jets also reportedly are interested in former Steelers defensive assistant Brian Flores, who was the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. Chicago went 5-12 this season under Matt Eberflus, fired in November, and interim head coach Thomas Brown. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Arthur Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.